mind has been, injected with anesthesia that blocks them from interpreting the truth.
That's almost what it's like. We just going live. According to that, we're live. I ain't got nobody in here, but I don't care.
All right.
They'll see it in the replay if they don't catch the
Well,
beginning.
the funny thing is, one of the managers that I work under, he's always coming around the different departments and flapping his lips about, oh, did you hear this on the news? Did you hear that? Did you hear this? Did you hear that? Oh my gosh, coronavirus, blah blah blah. And today he came over. I was just looking at him like he's a freaking just a maniac talking about all this stuff. And he said, well, you know what they're saying now is that most people who have the virus don't show any symptoms at all and they never get sick. And in my head, I was thinking, I wonder why, because perhaps most people don't come into direct contact with the 5G tower most of the time.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
And
most people.
I got a couple free people in here, but anyhow, yeah, they noticed they hear Hayden, so they know Hayden's here right off the bat. That's right. So they know who's in here. It's Hayden and myself, and I'm sure they noticed the title I gave it: U.S. military supporting the New World Order. That's because they are.
Yeah, they are. I laughed out loud whenever I heard him say that because it just kind of goes to show you how stupid some of these people are that they can't think outside of the box for their own selves and think,
They
okay, well, if
can't wrap their mind around the fact that you take our young kids from high school and these recruiters go to the high schools and take the young kids graduating that are
oh yeah,
willing to join up, okay? Then they run right into boot camp, which is brainwashing camp, and become the owner of them. And then they tell them they're
mm-hmm,
fighting to defend their country, and they tell them all this nonsense. And then they send them over to somewhere nobody's done anything to us, and we take over and steal and kill and bomb their freaking communities, okay? And we please their streets for them when they didn't want us there to begin with, okay?
all
And this
right,
is why we become, I think Monty Graf said it best. If you want to know where we're at right now, we're living in Nazi Germany 1941 right now. And you better hope we don't get to 1943 because there's going to be a lot of people in trouble. And guess what? We'll be in 1943 Nazi Germany here in a few months. You watch and see if we're not.
yeah, we used to have those jarhead recruiters come into our high school all the time, and back then I was football player, track runner, buzz cut, that type of stuff. So people always looked at me, oh, are you going to the military when you graduate? Oh, Hayden, you're going to be a military man. And I was always, of course, at the time, I didn't have any type of knowledge about the NWO or the Manosphere, so I was still basically asleep. But anytime I was approached by a recruiter, there's something inside of my gut, something in my intuition that told me this is not right. Don't get involved with this shit. This shit ain't what you think it is. And I always kept my distance from them. I let the other knuckleheads, indulge themselves with the
Yes.
military bullshit. Because
Indulge
something in me,
yourself with them lies and follow your orders, slave.
yeah, yep, yep.
And if you live to come back with an arm or leg blown off, don't worry, we won't be here for you. But we're going to tell you we'll be.
There's a
Ask
huge,
the
yeah,
thousands and thousands of vets that's come back, either with post-traumatic stress disorder or limbs missing, and their lives are messed up for years. And where's our military for them? Where's our government for them? We're done using them pawns.
I haven't done a damn thing for them. You're right, Bill. I mean, most of those soldiers, and I think Mitchell pointed out something. I think it was Mitchell who said it. He pointed out something very, very important on Saturday night show. He talked about, the reason why a lot of these soldiers come home with PTSD is because of the shit that they did when they were overseas. And it's sort of like a karma that's
It's
coming
sort
back to
of
them.
yeah, it's sort of that way. You get karma comes back on you, okay? You know, you got to realize first off that we have all been lied to our whole lives. Okay, and to think
Hmm.
any of this stuff that's going on right now, even without talking about the name itself, we're reopening, Hayden.
Yeah, May 1st, reopening. Let's open the bars. Let's open the restaurants.
Oh no, no,
And
no, no, Hayden, no, no, no. It don't work that way, man.
oh,
We have to pick and choose what we're opening, and this is not allowed to open, and that's not allowed to open, and that's not allowed to open. Okay, but we'll open this up and this up. Okay, and meanwhile, the other business owners they can sit around twiddling thumbs. Okay, and then they're going to give us just a little bit of false hope. They're going to have some openings going on. They're going to say, yes, we finally beat that invisible ghost. And then they go, oh no, there's a surge. Just about the time everybody's relaxed and set in that we're finally getting somewhere and reopening. Oh no, there's a surge. I mean, like
oh.
in my state today, we had 186 positive new findings.
Yeah.
Okay, for not 186, it was 486. That's what it was. So in my state, we got 486 brand new cases. Every day I hear new numbers, new numbers, new numbers. Okay. But don't worry, we're getting better. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been saying, 2,000 new cases in Dallas over the past week or so, and some people at my job even said the death toll went up to 1 million in America. I was like, "There's no fucking way." We
Yeah,
went
they're
from
they're showing that on that freaking bullshit site that the mainstream media uses. They're
mhm.
flashing that in everybody's face that we have over 1 million deaths. Okay.
That's fucking crock of shit. Ain't got 1 million of a goddamn thing. They're testing for a bacteria to determine who's positive and who's not. Bill, I bet you if I went and took that test, I'd test positive. But I feel freaking amazing. I feel just fine. You know?
Oh yes, exactly. And I just the way I look at military, Hayden, is like this. It's the living proof that we failed to grow up. And they
Mhm.
say, no, we need military. And I say, what for? Well, to defend ourselves. Ah, you did fail to grow up. You don't know
Cool.
how to get along and compromise, huh? You got to kill and steal from each other, huh? So you did fail to grow up, I understand.
Yeah, and that's where I disagree with Espiel. He made that bullshit claim that humans have always been violence driven and driven for war and aggression from the dawn of time. But I'm willing to bet you, Bill, if you did a social survey and took a poll of every single human being in the world and you asked them a simple question, would you choose A, war and violence, or B, peace and harmony? Damn near, I'd say 99.9% of humans would choose B, peace and harmony.
They sure would. There's no
The
doubt about that. There
only
is
point one
absolutely no doubt
percent
about
that
it.
would choose the choice A would be people who've got mentally deranged, mental problems.
Exactly, exactly. There is no excuse for military outside of the fact that you grew up. They are the arm of corruption
They are.
because the corruption starts at the top. You take innocent young people from high school, you brainwash them in boot camp, you control their lives, and you don't tell them the truth, and you send them over there telling them something took place that never took place, and they go over there. So if you want to know who the real terrorist is right now in this world, it's the United States of Nazi Germany. That's right. We're literally living in 1941 Nazi Germany right now. You think
Yeah.
you're in America, but you're not. You're repeating
South is.
history. That's what's going on. We're repeating history. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no two ifs, ands, and ends about it. That's what's going on. And the sad thing is, we got all these countries and all these politicians across the world that are all in bed with the same people, all working on the same goal. And the military, all these young guys, are hoodwinked. They have they're completely hoodwinked. They're
Right.
brainwashed. They're brainwashed. They don't know what they're doing. They just know they're following their orders.
Yeah.
And that's
And that's
literally what's taking place. That's why, even like Saturday night with Espio in here, okay? I mean, I'm sorry, he may get more, but this is real. I mean, yeah, the real threat is the fact that nobody knows what's going on. They're just following their damn orders and not caring. The real threat is when your mindset is that of the way humans are just naturally fighting creatures who want to kill each other. No, we're not.
No, I don't know where he gets that idea from. I don't
Well,
want to kill anybody.
because he watches his television set, Hayden, and he knows he's getting the truth because it's the History Channel.
Yeah.
And if it's the History Channel, my TV would never lie to me.
Good Lord, it's got to be right. Right?
Yep, it has to be right because I know my TV never lied to me. That's the mentality right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like people need to see that the military and the law enforcement, which is just a smaller branch of the military industrial complex, is the control arm for everything that the people in power are pushing. Because, I mean, let's face it, you don't see these old men in their suits with their canes like Lord Rothschild and fucking Andrew Carnegie and the Rockefellers running around in their fucking suits, with machine guns mowing people down on the streets and slapping the shit out of people with their canes. Oh, that's not how it goes. They use the military to do that stuff for them.
Yeah, I was listening to Jason Goodman for a few minutes and I shut it off, because he's in the middle of pulling a psyop on people right now with his last live stream, and they're in
Oh,
there,
really?
yes, they're in there talking about Pizzagate and Hollywood, and some of the stuff that I'm listening to is going back to Q. Okay. And and they're going back to things that I know full well where psyops is pulled on the people. So they're in there talking about psyopses, and he has the whistleblower on Google with him, okay, who blew
Right.
the cover on the algorithm of YouTube, and then he's got a female who supposedly was a whistleblower on a bunch of different crap, okay. But when I got listening, what I was hearing was, yep, this is a psyop. This is to distract you, is what it's about. It's to steer
Yep.
you off of what's going on right now so that you put your mind on other things.
Yeah.
And I see so much of that going on right now. They have psyops from every angle going on right now.
Yeah. They do. And it's going to be too late by the time people wake up. The people who do wake up. Most people won't wake up.
No, unfortunately, people ain't. They're going to think, see, look, things are getting better. We're opening. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. You're only at the beginning of the second stage.
Well, that's what fucking First said. He said we're only in stage 2. But
Yes,
there's 4 stages.
there's 4 stages, and you're still at the
Eh,
beginning of stage 2. And they're already manipulating you into we're opening. And then, of course, you got the people who went up there for all these protests that are popping up everywhere that were scheduled before the lockdown.
mhm.
Okay. And all these people are showing up and they're doing this protesting. Yeah, see, because we protest, we're opening now. Man, you want to talk about a manipulation game?
Well, that's what I said earlier. It doesn't fucking matter what businesses they open or not. They only open because they've been allowed to be open by the powers that be. The powers that be don't give a fuck. They run everything. They own this whole system that we live in. They don't give a rat's ass who's opened, who's closed, who dies, who lives, who goes to a labor camp, who, rots in the wilderness. They don't care. They do not care.
No, they do not
These are
care. And
soulless
unfortunately,
entities.
your military and law enforcement are going to help them bring this in because all of these people are sound asleep at the lower end. The majority of your military don't even know what's going on. They're not told. They're given their mission and they're taught what their mission is, even if it's propaganda that they're fed, and they go out and do their mission off of that propaganda. They don't care what orders they're given because we have to follow them, guys. We do have to follow our orders. It doesn't matter if it's against human rights. It doesn't matter if these human beings done nothing to nobody. Then you wonder why the United States of America is the terrorist. We are Nazi Germany. We are the terrorists. We are the ones invading other countries. So when you want to talk about the United States of America, this is what's going on. We are the terrorist.
Yeah, it's true. People don't want to believe it. I mean, you got all of these programs on television, or should I say, tell lies vision. Support
Yes,
the
there you
troops.
go. I like that
You know,
name. Tell lies
on
vision. Yes.
honor the fallen, wounded warrior. And hey, I mean, I'm not against any of these programs that at least put half an effort into helping a soldier who lost his leg to a landmine or something. I mean, that shit's just tragic. Let me just put that out there. I don't want to see any fucking human being or soldier, going overseas and getting their legs blown off. But the point is this: you have to. I mean, the people have to stop looking at this issue from a surface level and understand that every news station and media outlet is owned and controlled by the military industrial complex. And the CIA's main job is to provide disinformation to the public. That is their main line of duty. Their main line of duty is not, you know, finding bad guys, you know, over in the Middle East, doing undercover bullshit. No, it's disinformation.
It
That's
is.
their main line of work.
Well, that's just it, Hayden. You hit it on the head. The military industrial complex through the CIA runs and owns and controls all of the media in this country, every last bit of it, including alternative media.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you go from your television set to alternative media online. That's the same arm controlling them. So
Yeah.
what you get fed is partial truths and partial lies, psyops after psyop after psyop. Okay? And now I've noticed that we got this new Hollywood show going on with the stimulus packages.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting each other over if there should be another round. And I'm like, I ain't even got my first round.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. And you're gonna fight over, and they don't realize, for one, and then you hear people talking about they're deflating the dollar, man. They're gonna crash the dollar, and I'm like, you can't deflate something that's backed by nothing.
It's just stupid retarded.
It
You
is.
know,
And these people
what
don't get
these
the
people come
concept.
with.
They don't got the concept in their heads at one. For one, your money that you hold in your hand was always, for many decades, backed by gold and silver. And if you have this much value, which man put on to begin with, of gold and silver, you could only print the currency that matched that amount of value. When we took the
Right.
gold and silver away from the dollar, now what happens is they're just reaching up their buttholes and pulling numbers out and saying there it is. Then they're gonna say, well, but it's deflating the dollar. It can't deflate the dollar. Dollar ain't backed by nothing. What are you deflating? Thin air?
Yeah. I can't explain it any better than that.
I mean, this is the reality in a nutshell in your face. I'm not living in a bubble or an illusion. I'm not going to support, when I called and I proved my point because I already knew what the outcome would be because I'm very awake, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
I just had to do it anyhow. When I got old Tony over there freaking in 2017 in front of an audience saying what he said, I went ahead and, okay, we got to turn this into law enforcement because they need to investigate to find out he knew this was going to happen 3 years before it took place. Okay? So we got to find out how he knew that. Well, local police shop said, we can't help you. We can't investigate that. So they send me to the sheriff's department, who tells me, you'll have to call the state crime unit. The state crime unit will take care of it. And where did that take me? To the Fusion Center, who sent me back to the local cop shop. Okay. So then I looked up the FBI here in Iowa to get a hold of a branch of them. Where did every number they had listed, where did it go? Right to the Fusion Center. So you can't turn him in. He's being protected.
Yeah. I mean, you could take evidence that's so clear cut to prove that this is all phony baloney bullshit. Present it to the authorities and they will ignore it.
That's exactly it.
But oh, officer, you see, there was a guy at the park smoking some weed. Can you go arrest him? Oh yeah, we're on it.
Oh, we'll jump right on that, okay? You know, hey, look, there's 20 people standing close to each other. They ain't 6 foot apart. Oh, we're right on it, guys. Yeah. Hey, look what Tony said. Oh, we can't look at that.
Yep, they'll send 20 cop cars to go arrest a group of 3 guys doing something, practically innocent, just smoking some weed.
Well,
which
practicing human rights. Human rights are, you have inalienable human rights that can never be taken away from you. You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to pretty much do anything you want as long as you're not harming anybody else or taking or stealing from anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Right.
your actual rights. And anybody that fringes against these rights, they're not your friend, they're your enemy.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show that what's legal and what's not legal has no basis with health or morality when it comes to the legal system. Because
No.
let's face it, smoking weed is, I wouldn't consider it to be a productive endeavor. I've never experienced it myself, but maybe one time, and it was decent, but I wouldn't consider it any less of a negative thing than, say, going to a fast food joint and ordering up a milkshake with a triple cheeseburger loaded up with grease, something that's not really good
Oh,
for you.
yeah, I know.
But of course, that's legal. You can go to the grocery store and buy a shit ton of candy full of chemicals and metals inside of that, and that's okay because, see, that's legal. But hey, a little bit of marijuana, and a little bit of weed, maybe a blunt or two. Oh, 10-4. Got 2 teenagers down here. Send back up.
They're terrorists. They're smoking something the CIA and our government put in Monsanto's put on the streets. Oh, who's Monsanto's? Oh, that's just a government agency. No big deal, right? No big deal,
There
right?
you go.
We know that marijuana always comes with just nothing but buds and hardly no seeds at all. And hardly no stems off. BS. Complete BS. You want real marijuana, you got a bag full of it, you got to clean the stems and the seeds out of it, and every bud you break open has seeds in it. Not no more.
Right.
No, not no more, man. You'd be lucky to find a seed in this bag, man. This is really good stuff. Yep, right from Monsanto's to you. Uh-huh. Get caught
Right.
with it, you're going to go to jail. It was all right for the government to put it on your streets, but don't you buy any. We're going to tempt you with it, guys. Here, let's tempt them, okay? Okay, we got a sucker. All right, arrest him, officer.
There you go. Well, Bill, a perfect example of that just in everyday life is, how many people do you know that don't know that the bananas that they buy in the grocery store, those are not real bananas at all. Real bananas are very small. They come in huge packs on these trees, and they're filled with a shit ton of seeds. And they're very
Well,
bitter tasting.
the ones that we get here in the States are, if you go over to the Philippines, they match the ones we have here right off the tree, because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to actually taste pretty good too, and they're not loaded with seeds. And them are right off the trees. You grow bananas here in the States and they come out real small, loaded with seeds.
Yeah. Well, shit.
But you have to wonder because bananas go bad quick, right?
Yeah.
So, when I wasn't allowed to bring any bananas back with me neither, okay? You couldn't bring anything like that back to the United States. I even had these brooms. The Philippines, they have these brooms, and they were sweeping the floor with it, and they're all bent over sweeping. And I was looking at what they had, and I said, damn, that'll look neat on my wall. And they laughed at me, okay? And I said, no, I'm serious. That would be perfect to hang on my wall. Well, but this is a broom. I said, that ain't no damn broom, but that's a good decoration for the wall. I bought a couple when I was there, and when I got to freaking landed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we had to go through customs. So they
Oh.
took us down the runway to customs, where we had to stand in line while these freaking badge-wearing thugs were going through everything you had. And when it came to my
Right.
turn, they went through my backpack and they went through my suitcase. They took the 2 brooms out and said I'm not allowed to have them. Okay, well, but there's some seeds on these stems and you can't have them. Okay, and took them.
What the fuck?
Okay, then they go through my camera, look at pictures, and question me, who's this? Who's that? Who's this? And I'm like, excuse me, you want to put your nose somewhere else? You're going to get a little bit of crap on it now. Okay, And it was ridiculous. So what happened? The person I went over to see mailed me 2 more brooms. And guess what? I got them. And the only reason I got them is because it went U.S. mail. It didn't go through customs.
There you go.
And I'll bet you custom agents probably said these would be neat on my wall. I took them home and hung them up.
Fucking thieves, man.
Exactly.
I swear to God. It just goes to show you that these motherfuckers, I'm telling you, Bill, I'm not saying that all police officers are deliberately bad people. I mean, most of them are dead asleep.
In general, we have police officers that are just, what can I say, victims of the social engineering, dumbed down.
Yes.
Bullies, that was what we have. But as far as police officers that actually have knowledge of what's going on, we do have some, but it's very few and far between. And any of them are awake to what's going on don't dare say it within their departments because, well, they'd be ostracized. They'd be out of a job.
They'd be out of a job. They could possibly get put in prison for it.
All because they believe in the truth and not lies. Okay, so you got to be a good order follower to be around in today's society. I think Espio would be a great order follower for the bankers. He'll bend over and he'll get some blue belt and he'll take it. He has no problem with it.
That just reminds me of a statement that George Carlin made one time during one of his skits, which, I mean, George Carlin told a hell of a lot of truth, but because he presented it in a comedic fashion, most people blew it off.
Oh, they all laughed at it as it was a joke. When he told them the truth, they laughed at him.
Yeah. Said most Americans are too busy, bent over with the not being able to notice the red, white, and blue dick that's being shoved up their ass every day.
Yeah. And that, and that's really what Espio was representing. He was representing that of the perfect order follower who will bend over and he'll even take dry entry. He don't mind. Okay. So, and I hate to be that way towards Espio, but man, I'm telling you, the stuff that he's supporting and, you could say he's trolling, but then the guy was getting upset because he really believes that his law enforcement and his president and his military are all on his side.
Well, Bill, I remember the way he dodged around the questions when I asked him about chemtrails was kind of upsetting because that's something that's very odd. There's tons of observable evidence in reality every day.
And chemical tests.
Chemtrails.
Chemical test has been done on the ground by legit sources.
And he's just over here. I'm asking him, okay, Espio, do you believe in chemtrails? Yes or no? And he's, maybe, I don't know. It's just, you look up in the sky.
Hell, I haven't seen any. Wasn't that his answer? He hasn't noticed any. So you've never looked in the sky in your life, right, Espio? Oh, well, that's just from the airplane. That's a contrail. You mean bullshit. That contrail goes for miles? Yeah.
Contrails dissipate very quickly right behind the stream.
They sure do. They don't linger in
Chemtrail.
the skies for miles and spread out and cover the sky.
I mean, I even tried to tell my mom that I mean, we were out in the front lawn one day, and I said, "Mom, you see those long streaks of white up in the sky?" I said, "You know what those are, right?" She looked at me. She goes, "Oh, those are the airplane trails." I said, "No, those are chemtrails." She said, "No, they're not. Those are contrails." I'm like, "Mom, contrails dissipate.
They go away.
They
See,
dissipate right
and I
as the
know that
stream
to
goes
not,
by."
and I know that to be factual because I grew up in the '60s, and I looked in the sky thousands of times when I was a kid, and there was no such thing as that. I watched many jets fly over and left their little trail behind them that dissipated in a short time and was no
Mm-hmm.
longer visible to see. Okay, and then wham, I get to be a young adult, and I noticed, wow, look at these plane trails, man, across the entire sky.
Yes.
Okay, see, I grew up at a time where there was no chemtrails. So when I look at the skies in today's world and you tell me there ain't no chemtrails, man, you're deliriously out of your damn mind.
Well, Bill, I mean, even in my own experience, I don't think anybody, I mean, no matter, I don't care if you live in a small town that's buried, I mean, 200 miles away from a big city, from all corners, north, south, east, and west. Because when I went to Colorado, Pagosa Springs buried deep into the mountains of southern Colorado, you know, at least 400 to 500 miles away from any big city.
Yeah.
They were still spraying the fuck out of those skies directly above that small town.
Oh, they sure were,
Nobody's safe.
Well, I like this comment Espiel left because I'm laughing hard. Why don't you anti-Americans who don't support our military move to a communist country? I don't got to move to do it. All 10 plagues of communism already been in place in America. I don't got to move to do that, Espiel. All I got to do is stay where I'm at.
No, he's, I'm lost for words. My mind just goes into a fucking boggle whenever I hear
They're
comments like
fighting, I
that.
know, they're fighting for the NWO. They're not fighting for your freedom. You don't have freedom. You're losing more and more every damn year right under your nose because you're too dumb to see it. You can't help the dumb, Hayden. You can only lead them to the water when they don't drink and they're whining about their diet of thirst. What can you do for them?
I just don't know what goes through his head sometimes. I really don't.
I don't know where he's coming from other than he kept repeating over and over. I watched the History Channel.
Anybody could just sit down and watch the History Channel and say, "Oh, this must be true." Oh, we hear about all of these wars. Wars with the Mexicans, wars with the Native Americans, wars on top of wars. America's been at war 98% of the time of its existence. I mean, just how do we know what the past really looked like unless we actually lived it? We don't. You can't trust a
Exactly.
history book.
No, you can't. That's been proven. They write lies in the history books and teach the lies to you in your school system.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come out believing the lies they feed you between your television set and your school system. You're lied to your whole damn life. And then when you start waking up to all the lies you've been lied to, it's really a hard thing on a lot of people. It really is. And some people, I think, they just turn around and go right back to sleep because that couldn't be. They
Yeah.
would never do something like that, man. There ain't nobody that nuts. And not understanding they're being run by a bunch of psychopaths.
I mean, the closest thing we can get to understanding truth from a historical perspective would be to either listen to interviews from the elderly in the early 1900s on camera, reading books from people who knew truth back in the early 1900s or 1800s. I mean, because as far as we're concerned, the first video footage didn't arise until the 1888 and 1890, and that was only like a 5-second clip. I mean, it was just fucking shit. But the closest, the truth has been so buried that it's become so easy for them to just simply say, okay, this is this, and this is the truth. It reminds me of that one quote one elitist said one time: "Is it doesn't matter what's true. It only matters what's perceived to be true." I can't remember who said that quote.
Yeah, I'm not sure who said that quote, but
I'll
I
have to
do.
look it up.
But I do know this: everything in society is completely upside down on its head. And Trump proves that all the time because he's pointing out there as he's lying his tail off to you. He's out there pointing at somebody that might have spoke some truth and calling them
Yeah,
fake news. While he's up here reading lies off to you on a regular basis.
yeah, he's always had a knack for using that tactic, and that's um, a primary tactic that somebody who's speaking lies will use is divert the attention, accuse somebody else of lying in order to divert the attention away from themselves. And he does a very good job of doing that, and a lot of people believe him, unfortunately. Oh, you see
Yeah.
there, Trump's calling out the fake news. He's real president. No, he's not.
No, he's not. That's all a show. He don't run
He's a
nothing. He's a puppet.
he's a real commanding actor in chief.
Well, that's right. He is a really good actor. He might as well, he could go to Hollywood and go ahead and act in a movie because that's all he is as an actor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Some people, and I've already had to kick 2 trolls out of the show already. I mean, they're following me over. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes from that first guy.
Yeah, I think First has a couple of fellow minions coming over and fucking everything over. Because I've seen that Franco. There's one guy named Franco, I believe. There's another guy. Of course, 0 subscribers, no videos. They're not going to show themselves on camera, but they'll get up on these live streams and talk a fuss. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's one of them things that how do you ever stop what's going to come down the pike? You're not. My governor the
I
other
don't think we
day,
can.
yesterday she was talking about the places that are opening, and she's advising the people here in Iowa. She's giving us her really good sound advice, Hayden. Okay, restaurants are going to be reopening, but they're only going to be 50% of capacity. So you should call ahead and make a reservation before you go. Okay, that's sound advice, right? Then she says, but try not to use cash.
Oh, try not to use cash because, hey, we don't want to spread a non-existent contagious virus onto the surface of another object. Oh no.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want it to get in the air, I went to the doctor yesterday, and and it was sort of funny the way this went off. I went in there, okay, and when I'm taken back to the room by the nurse, who always goes in with you first, her and I had a really good conversation, and I says to her first, I says, don't you find this weird? You're in the middle of a pandemic, and you're slower than heck in here. And what I've heard is there's been some medical workers laid off and let go. I said that to her, right? You know what she says?
What?
She says, "Yeah, right." And then she says You're correct. We've had a few nurses right here in this town at the hospital and here in the clinic that have lost their jobs. They've been let go because there's no work. So you want to think about this. You're in the middle of a pandemic. You're letting medical employees go because you don't got no work for them when you're in the middle of a pandemic. Okay? First off, that flies in the middle of your face. Okay? Okay? So we had this conversation. It
Yep.
come out pretty good, and I had her thinking. I told her a whole bunch of stuff, right? I got her really thinking, so I know she's going to go home and look it up. Well, the doctor came in the room wearing his mask on his face, and he walks at me and says, "Where's your mask?" And I says, "I don't need one." He looks at me, "You don't need one." And I says, "No." He says, "You've got a lot of underlying health conditions." So I says, "I know, and I'm still here." Okay. I had a good old
Yeah.
conversation with the doctor. He cut me off halfway through and moved on to what he was doing. And then he proceeds to tell me, "Well, we got a new report out that they don't want people with your condition using your nebulizer. But since you don't believe in Corona's real, go ahead and do whatever you want to do."
That's fucking.
That's what he told me. Now you got that word strong, okay? Well, you know what? Let me talk about the word strong. Kalamazoo, Michigan, there was a false flag of a bicycle who got run over.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that was a false flag. It didn't really happen. Okay, and after it was all said and done, they had Kalamazoo strong. Okay, that school shooting up there in that Newtown place. After it was all said and done, they had strong that name. That Newtown name. I'm not saying the name for the fact of algorithm here. Okay, on YouTube.
Right.
Okay, Parkland up there in that Florida place.
Ah.
After
Yeah.
that was all said and done, they had the word up. Okay, strong again. Okay, and if you pay attention to every false flag that's gone on or military exercise drill that they took live, right? They in these
Right.
communities, even in Vegas, it was Vegas strong. Okay, now here I am, and I'm living right across the street from my hospital. A big old boom fire truck going over there and parked in the parking lot next to the entrance. Stuck out his boom with a flag on the end of it over the driveway. They hung all these signs up. Horns were honking all day long. And this was just the day before yesterday. Horns are going off all day long. What the hell's going on over there? But I never didn't leave the house. I went out yesterday morning to leave the house. Of course, fire truck's gone. Brian went out there. My roommate told me all about what was going on over there. When I seen these signs nailed into the ground. Yep, we're strong now, Hayden. Yep, the word strong has been now used again. I love it because they use this word in reference to something that didn't take place, and everybody takes the word as we're strong, we survived it, and they know that you're going to take the word that way when they don't even mean it that way. They're using it to let you know this is complete hogwash.
I'm pretty sure the word strong has a secret Masonic meaning that nobody is aware of. But
There they are using my name. I like that. That was pretty awesome, man. They used my channel name. These trolls are ridiculous.
yeah, it's just like a briefing from the Secret Covenant said, we will kindly guide them, convincing them that they're leading themselves. In other words, people think they're free, but they're not. I mean, we're not free at all.
No,
I
no,
mean,
we're not.
we need to stop lying to ourselves. I mean, we're not free. I mean, I'm at a place of liberation because I've become aware of the truth, and that truth is that we're not free. We're all slaves in this system.
That's just it. Every last one of us are slaves in the system. Okay, you're in the system. You got your slave number. That's your SSI number. Okay, you're in the stock market because your body, they're profiting off you cattle. All of us
Mm-hmm.
cattle have a number on our birth certificate that puts us in the stock market. Okay, I don't care who you are. Even Jeff Aston could pull up his birth certificate number on the stock market. Because these creeps are making money off of every one of us after we're born.
Yeah.
All your SSI numbers for benefits are right, but not for us. That's your slave number. If you really want to get technical about it, your SSI number and your birth certificate number equal up to a routing number and an account number. Now, do you know anybody that uses routing numbers and account numbers?
Oh,
Yeah, you do when you open a bank account.
right. Well, yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
Now, the stock market, when you go into it, you find your birth certificate number there. If you
Mm-hmm.
took your birth certificate number and you took your SSI number, it all goes back to a bank. It's a routing
Right.
number and an account number. It's an account of your name that you don't have access to.
Right.
That's no lie. That's fact. That's real
Uh,
truth.
I've heard of that before, Bill. I've actually heard people talk about, oh, you're entitled to you're entitled to a certain amount of money that's already yours. All you need to do is, know this information, your routing number, this, that, blah, 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 pay all your bills, and people try it and it doesn't fucking work because you don't have access to it. They
No,
do.
that's correct, but I mean, there's some parts to this is true, but you got to understand, like, Social Security disability has an I behind it now. Why? Because it's insurance. And in other words, in a nutshell, what they're telling people who become disabled before retirement time that they keep making older and older and older because they don't want to pay it back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they make the age older and older and older. But if you become disabled before that age, and you get approved for Social Security disability, it's called Social Security Disability Insurance, which means they have insurance companies paying that out.
It's fucking evil. I'm telling you.
They don't. Most people don't understand the hoodwink that's over the top of their heads. They don't look into it far enough to understand it.
No, you're viewed as insane. You're viewed as insane. That is another form of mind control that they used to discourage people that are aware of truth. Is
They
you're just a
do.
bunch of insane lunatics.
Well, it's like TFL within itself. That is the big white elephant in the room. I've spoke with Mr. Hoke a few times in the last few days, and we actually had some pretty good conversations.
Yeah.
And the reality is TFL is the elephant in the room. It is the big white elephant in the room. It's the one thing they're never going to own up to. And of course, it is the core of NWO. Because it's no accident that we're divided. It's no accident that we act the way we act. It all comes from many years of hard work of social engineering.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. And people want to deny it. They can deny it to the blue in the face. I don't care. You can keep denying, but the day's going to come when you're going to find out you're in the middle of some really bad stuff that you don't want to be in the middle of. Well, how'd that happen? Well, because you acted like Espiel. You praised the person who was not on your side.
Right.
You turned your back to the truth because it scared you. You didn't want to look into it because it was, again, truth is hated in today's society, awful. And what else do we know about truth when it was hated throughout periods of history? Anytime we've replayed history, truth became the enemy. What do we see?
Yes.
What do we see today? Once again, truth is the enemy. As we replay history.
Yes. Absolutely. And one thing that reminds me of is Um, Slipped out of my head. I'll have to come back to it. But anyways, you're right, Bill. And I mean, anytime throughout history, you look at any civilization, doesn't matter if it was Rome, doesn't matter if it was the Greek Empire, just going back to 2,000 years or recent history. I mean, it's all relatively been people who know the truth are in the vast minority, and the people who are dumb to the ignorance are in the majority. But now that I've got the point back in my head, is one of the mental, the mind control tactics that I used to hear them using that I caught on to pretty quickly, even back when I was in high school, was we have this massive wave of social engineering in America, specifically that um, male shames men whenever they act upon their intuition and their feelings rather than just, as they would say, quote unquote, being a man. And what I mean by that is if you have, for example, military recruiters that are looking to recruit young boys into boot camp and whatnot and train them to go to war, and they feel uncomfortable about it and they don't want to be in that situation, society looks at those young boys and they says, look at those guys, Bill, those are a bunch of pussies, those are a bunch of bitches. So what they've basically done is they've taken your intuition and they've taken your, if you want to call it, creator given feelings that allow you to decipher bullshit from truth and harmony, and they've shamed you into believing that your feelings and your intuition is, you know, pussy shit, bitch shit, when in fact it's intelligence. It's allowing you to avoid making a mistake, making a choice that's going to put you in a situation where you're going to get hurt or you're going to fuck somebody else up. And that's what they want. They want people running around killing each other, fucking each other. It's just like they said, if we see fit, we will force them to kill each other to suit our needs. They said it. They weren't, I mean, what were they talking about when they wrote that preompt? They were talking about war. They weren't talking about these, bar fights or stupid shit like that. They were talking about war, world wars between countries, frontline battles, bodies dropping.
Yeah.
And people glorify that shit. And it pisses me off because there's nothing glorious about war.
No, there isn't. The only people that want war are the people that are profiting off of this. Follow the
Mm-hmm.
money. You'll find out the people that are rooting for war are the people that are actually profiting off of your demise.
Yeah.
Because it's what Hayden said earlier is true. If you could go worldwide and ask all of the citizens what they would choose between war or peace and harmony, they would all be choosing peace and harmony.
Yep.
They wouldn't be choosing to go kill one another so they can steal somebody else's stuff. So I said you don't need a military. Military should be abolished, just like governments should be abolished.
I agree with that.
They
Yep.
both need done away with. I mean, the first clue that you failed to grow up is when you had to go into the military. Don't you love the logos they like to use? They say, grow up and become a man and join the army.
That's more NWO social engineering programming. That I mean, that term alone right there, Bill, that term, man up.
Yeah.
Man up this, man up that. That's just a very subtle form of male shaming. It is.
It
Because
is.
you're taking a man and you're trying to forcefully push him against his will and intuition into a situation that is filled with nothing but greed and bloodshed.
It is. You're the patsy, okay? I'm going to grow up and become a man. I'm going to the army and I'm going to go over here and kill some innocent person who done nothing to me. And then I'm going to get my leg blown off and whine about it.
I mean, I mean, what do they? What do people expect would happen if you're marching troops into another nation's territory, trying to take over their oil, their land, their money, their resources, their
That's right.
women?
Because
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
you think you're just gonna walk in like a bunch of alpha cocksuckers and just take it all over with no um, repercussions? I don't think so. No, sir. I don't give a damn if you're the American military.
yep,
Who
real dummies. I'm going to answer SPL. Real dummies want to go into the battle. That's right. That's right, SPL. Real dummies go into battle, so I think SPL should get right over there, man. You could be on the front lines. I mean, you're all for it, SPL, so go over there and get on them front lines, will you? It's just like population reduction. He was for that too, so I told him, well, then that includes you, right? No. Well, of course it does. You don't got a right to point your finger at anybody else. If you believe we're overcrowded, we need population reduction, and you're right along with that agenda, well, then why don't you just go ahead and help them out and eliminate yourself, huh?
it's just the concept of overpopulation is so absurd. I mean, the only real people who believe in overpopulation come from big cities. It's an illusion. All right, you're stuck in this big city, this bubble where you've got a lot of people surrounded in a small proximity of land, and that forces you to believe in the illusion. Oh, we're overpopulated. Tell you what,
It does.
get in your car, drive outside of the city limits, get into the country, and you tell me if we're overpopulated.
And then drive from state to state, down the interstates, and pay attention to all the blank land.
Drive through the middle American states, drive through Kansas, drive through Oklahoma, drive through Nebraska, drive through Iowa.
That's right. Take your trip around this country once, and you'll find out what I'm telling you is not BS. We literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds of hundreds and hundreds of nothing but empty land. And
Yes, we
that's
do.
worldwide, it's the same way. They have tons of empty land.
And it's healthy
Okay.
land too.
And resources, no, we're not running out of them. We're creating the shortage deliberately. That's what they're doing. They're deliberately creating a shortage so they can lie to you. It is nothing but history replaying itself. That's all this is. Why people cannot understand this is history replaying itself. See, I agree with Monty Graf. We are literally living in Nazi Germany, 1941, right now. You know, about 10 years ago, I called this country Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I told people then we're repeating the same thing Nazi Germany did. 10 years ago, I said it, and I still say it to this day. And it's backable, too. Just like
Yes.
people think Obama wrote the Obamacare. No, he didn't. Let me tell you a real story about Obamacare before it was voted in. It's the same freaking care that was in Nazi Germany. The same program that was for health care that was passed in Nazi Germany when Hitler was in. They took that health care bill from the United Nations, gave it to Obama, and he tagged his name to it and ran with it.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
That is absolutely true all the way. We are Nazi Germany. We are the terrorists. And the sooner people get that through their heads and understand that they've been hoodwinked, they've had the blanket pulled over their face. I really don't know what the issue is, you know.
You know, I have to give credit to a YouTuber that goes by the name of Sacred Serpent. Now, I don't really watch his videos anymore because he gets into topics that don't really interest me. But he made a video one time called "Stop Watching the Stupid Tell Lie Vision." That's where I got that term from. Was him? He called it "Tell Lies Vision," and that's what it's. I mean, if you break etymology of the word down, it really is. It's not television, it's tell lies vision. And he went on a long, damn near 20-minute rant on how people, I mean, all the reasons people need to stop watching the TV, and goes deep into the NWO of it. And that was a very great video of his. So, I mean, the first line of action that people need to follow if they want to even begin to start halfway waking up is they got to stop watching the damn TV. You got to stop watching the damn news. You got to turn it all off. Because me, I don't watch any of that stuff. I can't watch it even if I wanted to because I have no cable bill. I have no
Just
cable.
you know what, Hayden?
Completely disconnected.
Yeah. If you
And
had,
I have no anxiety whatsoever about some jackass showing up to my door with a, COVID-19. He's gonna cough on me by accident. I'm gonna get the virus, and holy shit, I'm gonna get super sick. Oh no. Because I'm not filled with the fear and the anxiety of the TV. You'd be
no,
amazed at how much peace you can find when you turn that box off.
I haven't watched TV in years. I don't even own one. And when I was a
Hmm.
young adult, I owned a big screen. It was one of the older big screens that would be old now. I mean, at the time it was new. You know, the
Right.
big, huge console wooden box with the gigantic screen in it.
Yeah.
Okay, the big, huge ones you paid $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for.
Oh yeah.
I give 3,200 for the one I had. Okay, and I
Whew.
watched it. Yep, that's right. And I watched TV all the time when I was younger. But man, when I started waking up and I started realizing how bad it really was, the more I researched, the sicker I got when I watched TV. And I'd watch TV and I'd see right through the bullshit. And then, of course, the male shaming and the male bashing.
Oh God.
That right there, I mean, I tested the theory here about a year ago, and my brother wanted to do this thing for TV, but he only watches wrestling, right? So I put this thing on freaking the computer so he could get his wrestling, and what the hell? Let's see what real TV's about nowadays. That didn't last long. I'm
It's
so
worse
glad I
nowadays.
don't watch TV nowadays because I'll tell you what, it's disgusting.
It is. It's absolutely disgusting. And I mean, the things that really get me the most is these stupid commercials talking about children's medicine or something that has to do with a pharmaceutical drug to, help with your symptoms for something. And they always play with the voiceover of a middle-aged woman with the sweet, smooth talking voice to make it sound like a relatable friend of somebody that your mother would know so that people can feel warm and fuzzy to it. And they got the sweet, children's music in the background with the piano playing to make it seem like it's such an innocent thing. And it's the most evil, sadistic deception that there is. And they pull it off in front of everybody.
They do. That's just it. They've been pulling the lie over people's faces so bad, people got their face buried in the TV set, actually believing they're getting real truth. And that's a lot of the reason you hear them over, you got to support our military. No, I don't. I don't support children. I feel sorry for the kids in high school who fall for the lie with no life experience and go into the military because they get their lives destroyed, most of them do.
Yeah.
Especially during times like now, because we are the arm of the NWO. That's what military's for, is the arm of corruption and tyranny.
Yes.
Real people who grow up, man and woman alike, don't want military or need anything to do with military. Military is nothing but the arm of evil. That's what it's used for, is evil. And this BS about all through time, man, we've been going to war and fighting. You proved my case. I said that from the very beginning of time to the day's time, mankind's biggest failure was their ability to grow the fuck up. And all these people do that want to preach about all the wars throughout history is just prove my point. Because what Hayden said is the very, very, very real truth. Nobody wants wars but psychopaths.
Yep. That's it. Only the extremely mentally deranged, narcissistic, and psychopathic people want war. And even that percentage of people you have to investigate. Because if they were in their right mind, they'd be just like everybody else. They'd want peace and harmony. But we live in America. This is basically a modern day Egypt, a modern day Babylon. This is a Babylon system that we're living under. This is a draconian system that we're living under.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cesspool of lies. And that's why I'm so hesitant to do research, because you're going to be tits high in fucking lies and disinformation by the time you get to a reliable source of truth. You can't trust what's telling you the truth and what's not, because there's so many lies out there. You're like, where do I even begin?
That's it. Right
This
now,
guy over here is telling me he's got the truth, but this guy over here says that guy is wrong, but he said he has the truth too. And then you got a bunch of group of guys up here in the front saying they got the truth. And then you got a guy over here, somewhere snuck off in the corner saying, look, all of those guys that you just heard from, they're all wrong here. Let me show you the way. Everybody's telling you that they've got the truth. Who the fuck do you trust? Who do you trust?
that's the
At the end of
problem. You can't
that's
trust anybody anymore, Hayden.
no, you can't. You can only trust your experiences.
You have to trust your experiences, and you have to actually have real care. And if you just wake up and start looking into stuff, you realize real quick. I mean, there's not very many people left that you can trust.
No, especially, the biggest giveaway is somebody starts, asking for money, selling something, looking to sell something, promote something. That's immediate red flag. You can't put up with that.
You don't know, and I'm not gonna, and I don't put up with it. I just, and it's even like in the chat, I don't care. I see trolls in here pulling shit. I take them out, and I don't always watch the chat. So some trolls get by for a while, and other trolls don't. But once I catch you trolling, I remove you. I don't care, because these are serious topics that are on this channel. We're talking truth, and we're talking very serious topics that's going to affect everybody's life, including every last person in this chat.
Yes, this is all relative to every person's life, whether they believe it or not. This is relevant to our lives.
It is. For years, they went, nobody wanted to talk about religion or politics. Them are the two things nobody wanted to talk about. Well, when you don't want to talk about religion, I give you a pass on that one, because that's another big psyop, okay? I'm not saying having a creator isn't a psyop. But I am telling you what we've been reading is full of garbage, okay? Not saying there ain't no truth in it, but I'm telling you what. If you think it was passed down by, God gave us these words for Moses, and because we know, no, you don't know. If them words were so real and so true, then you'd have to question, why could the books be all over the place still yet? When you're in a world, we are literally in a world of a war of evil versus good. There's no doubt about that. But if that so-called good book was that good, they would be burning the books, and they're not. Oh, but it says that this was going to happen way ahead of time. Well, of course it did, because they gave you their plan and allegory. They also told you wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
They really did.
Some of them even tell you that your government is your God. You have to abide by what your government says. I like what George Carlin said about God. I laughed at that, because that's actually the real truth. What kind of loving God would banish you to hell from? I'll give you the example. You got a baby that's born that lives 2 days. It dies from problems at birth, okay? It's 2 days old. And you have a hardcore Christian telling me that baby sins was not forgiving, so it will be burning in hell for eternity.
Bull fucking shit.
Okay.
I hate hearing stuff like that.
That is how ridiculous this crap gets.
Yes.
It's all
And then you have,
garbage.
it's all bullshit. Then you have some Christians that say, oh, there's the age of accountability. That was very popular in the Baptist church. It was the age of accountability. There's a certain age that a child can live up to, die, and they'll be forgiven or accounted of their sins because they're not conscious of their actions and a sense of right and wrong. So let's say a kid dies at the age of 4 or 5, then they're covered by the age of accountability under that theology. Therefore, they'll go straight to heaven. But this kid over here, now, this kid got killed in a car crash. Parents got hit by an 18-wheeler, whatever. 9 years old, 10 years old. Oops, he's past the age of accountability. Well, he knows right from wrong. He knows his sins. He hasn't been forgiven. He hasn't accepted Christ as his savior, blah, blah, blah. He's going to burn in hell for eternity. Oh, but remember, God loves him unconditionally, of course.
Of course, yet that's
Yeah,
right.
bullshit.
There you go. That's how it works. And they feed you all this crap. They feed it to you over and over and over, and you grow up believing it. You know, and there is red flags. If you look at, you just look for red flags. I mean, the governor of Iowa gave a gigantic red flag. They're opening up a brand new website, and they're encouraging all RNs and LPNs and first responder workers to join this website. Why are they opening up the website? In case a major catastrophe should happen, they'll have first responders. She literally
And
said that. At
in
this,
case,
you know,
in case a planned event happens, which it will, we're gonna need staged responders to help
but
out.
Hayden, isn't that what the National Guard is? The last time
Yes.
I looked,
Oh yeah.
every single county in every single state across America has a National Guard. And National Guard was the first responder in case of a major catastrophe. But now we have to have a special website in the middle of all this that we can get doctors and LPNs and first responders to join to be ready for, well, as Hayden just said, the red flag is they're planning something. And you want to hear another good red herring for you? How about the fact that this ain't going to probably be over to spring of 22?
Well, that's what a lot of these mainstream, so I mean not mainstream sources, but they predicted that on the Tiger King, that fucker from the Tiger King show. He said social distancing up to 2022. I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to see what happens.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot more than what we're looking at. I could see a few more false flags coming into play, where there's going to be some major catastrophes, where major things are going to take place.
Mm-hmm.
We're
I don't
not
know,
out.
Bill.
Hayden, we're not out of the woods. We're only at the beginning of stage 2.
No, I think we got a ways to go, and by a ways to go, I'm talking years. I think this could easily this could, depending on how they play it out, this could easily ride all the way up into 2030. But I just have a nagging suspicion that something big is going to happen in 2028. There's something in my gut that tells me to keep my eye out on the year 2028 for something big to happen. And I'm not talking about something good.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, Hayden.
Well,
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think school start back up in fall?
no,
You're with me then. I feel the same
no,
way. I feel the same way about it. That no, when fall comes, school won't start back up like normal.
they
Not at
won't.
all.
They'll do it internet style. They will open up classes online, but they will not have public school. No,
Yeah.
because they still have to install their 5G. And I tell you, Bill, ever since I've opened up about 5G, everywhere I go, I see them all over the place. I can't get my eyes away from them.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where these towers, they're deliberately designed in such a way where the construction and the architecture of the 5G tower itself, it's designed in a way that it blends right into the urban environment. That way you don't notice it unless you're deliberately seeking it. So people are walking by these towers every day and they're all over the place. And typically it has the same shape. It's a large stainless steel or iron stanchion with about 6 or 7 um, connection platforms circling around that one center stanchion. That's typically what they look like most of the time. Now, sometimes they're long white towers, long white stanchions. Sometimes they're put inside trees. Sometimes they're put on side um, the wiring, the light poles that run up and down the streets. It varies, but I tell you, once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. You see them everywhere.
It's like no, it's like a car you never owned before. You buy it, and then pretty soon you start seeing it all around you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what it's like, and you're right. They want to get their 5G in place. They want to get everything in order for what they want. And who knows what's coming down the pipeline? But I'll guarantee you, you're not putting a internet site up for first responders because something ain't going to happen.
No. I mean, it's going to get bad out here. Every day we have this intersection that's catty cornered to my apartments where a lot of homeless people stand um, in that bridged. I don't even know what you would call it, but basically the curb that separates both sides of the road in the intersection, and on all 4 sides you've got homeless people that hold up those signs asking for money. Now sometimes I'll give a little bit of cash or a bottle of water if they look like they're really beat down and out of luck, but sometimes you have to be careful who you help out because these people can just be fucking bullshitting you out of your money and they don't really need anything. So you have to kind of decipher who's genuinely struggling and who's just looking to gank you. But all besides that point is that we have a lot of these homeless people that walk around town, and right up the road is a big church, catty corner off the exit strip from George Bush Tollway, which is one of the biggest highways in Dallas. And I think to myself every day I drive by that big church, man, wouldn't that be a fucking fantastic building to open up for a homeless shelter to help these people get back on their feet? But I have to sit there and tell myself that's never going to happen because we don't live in a society that gives a flying fuck about anything humanitarian or helpful to people that are down and out. Just toss them in a shithole of a homeless shelter full of drugs and violence and rape.
And there's our caring society for you, Hayden. That's the type of society we live in. Our idea of caring for other people is to throw them under a bus. I don't know how people think that a society that throws everybody under the bus, especially men, okay, but a society that hates on men and everybody's busy walking on each other, stepping on each other, and throwing each other under the bus because it's about game, Hayden. You got to have game. You got to one up somebody else, Hayden. How did they think society is going to last that way?
It's not going to last at all. I mean, it doesn't deserve to last if that's how it's really going to be.
Yeah.
It just that whole thing about these. I mean, Bill, you would be in shock if you saw the size of some of these churches in Dallas. I mean, they're massive. And what do they really produce for society other than you got one preacher standing up behind the pulpit, banging his fist, telling you and your loved ones that you're going to fucking be tortured and fire for eternity if you don't believe in the Lord and do as I say and live a good life.
Yeah, do exactly as he says, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yet the 2-year-old baby, who is a 2-day-year-old baby, went to hell and burned forever, huh? Because it's an all-loving God.
Yeah. He's an unconditional God. These preachers, they'll be so quick to say, "Oh, God is a God of unconditional love. Amen. Oh, God is a God of grace and mercy. Amen." They talk that real Southern lingo all the time. I hear it. But I got to ask myself, okay, if God's a God of unconditional love, then why am I only saved on the condition of believing in the Lord? Why are there conditions for my salvation? Why aren't I just saved right off the bat? Why isn't everybody just saved right off the bat? Why make a hell to begin with? If there really is such a place in the afterlife, okay, why was that created to begin with? Why did God create that?
Yeah.
Okay, why did He create the serpent? Why did He create the tree? Why do you make any rules? If He didn't want anybody to suffer, if He really wants everybody to quote unquote make it or be saved,
Oh, yeah.
just save everybody by default. If you're really a God of unconditional love, meaning you love everybody based upon zero conditions, it's simple. You just don't make any rules. Everybody is, um, put on an equal playing field and saved by default. But no, of course, more bullshit
It
and
is.
coming from the churches. And the church topic really frustrates me the most. I understand people have their beliefs. I believe in a creator. I know most other people believe in a creator. I'm not discussing whether or not people have a belief in a creator. I'm talking strictly on the basis of religious beliefs and doctrines of bullshit and just dogma that don't produce anything good for anybody, that run this society. And they'll sit up all day talking about how God loves the homeless man, but they'll never open up that church where that preacher gets up behind that pulpit saying God loves that homeless man. No, they'll never open up that church for those people struggling.
No.
They'll leave them to rot in the cold, dead in the wintertime, snow falling on their face, nowhere to go.
Well,
Meanwhile,
they love to attack the homeless. I've seen incidences where a charity gets together and they make all this food, prep it, and they go to a park where homeless people are known to hang out, and they hand out free food, giving the homeless people meals, right? And here
right,
comes the cops. They got nothing better to do, and they shut it down and tell them they cannot feed the homeless. St. Petersburg, Florida. They went onto an empty lot that was empty for years and years and years. Homeless people set some tents up on that lot. They went on that lot, kicked them out, wouldn't let them take their belongings, and cut their tents up.
they did do that. I
Okay.
remember you covering that story.
Yes, this stuff really happened. This is how much we care about other people. You stop to think about some of these homeless people worked for General Electric for years. They were already at an age where it'd be harder than hell to find another job. And, well, General Electric moved over to China. Let every American worker go. Now, what do? They sell their product in China back to America.
Yes.
So we still find General Electric in our stores. Why? They let go of how many workers in America, put them on a job, and some of them people wound up homeless on the street through no thought of their own. And what did we do? We attacked them. Well, we still
Yes.
buy their products, don't we? I wouldn't buy another thing that's General Electric ever. They don't deserve it. They became traitors to their own people and their own country.
The veil of ignorance is so vast. Most people just unfortunately are never going to see it.
No, that's actually the real sad truth. But I did find it pretty cool when the nurse at the clinic that was slower than heck that my whole life, that clinic, every time I've been in this town, has never been slow the way it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fact. It's never been like it is now. And when that does fly in the middle of your face, when you can watch your medical industry be so slow during the middle of a pandemic, letting healthcare workers go in the middle of a pandemic, upside down on his head. If there was a real pandemic, they'd be looking for more medical help.
That might be interesting if I decide to take a trip to one of our big um, medical facilities, hospitals in Dallas. I'm not going to disclose the name. Fuck it, I'll say it. Parkland in Dallas. That's supposedly that's the epicenter for where everybody with corona is being treated in Dallas. It would be very nice to go and take a little trip over there one day, maybe on my off week, and see what it really looks like. Get some video footage so that people see that I'm not making it up. Take some pictures, get some video footage, maybe ask a few paramedic officers, a few police officers, hey, are we supposed to be in the middle of a pandemic right now? Where are all the nurses at? Why aren't I seeing floods of people walking in and walking out?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? Just like that gentleman who recorded those videos at the whatever the fuck it was called, medical center in Queens, the supposed epicenter of COVID-19 in the whole country. Dead, like a ghost town. Nobody coming in or coming out. And the people that he asked, they have a fucking clue. Paid agents. They know it's all bullcrap, but they're paid well to conceal it.
That's right. That's exactly what's going on. They're using the tool, money, to control the scenario. These people are being paid big money and they don't want to lose out on that money. So
Nope.
they're betraying everybody in their own countries worldwide for their own pocketbook.
That's the mentality, Bill. You got these cities like New York, Miami, LA, they got these big rents, Bill. They got these big families and these big $3,000 rents. They got to get paid. I can't tell the truth. I can't
Yeah.
afford to lose my 6-figure salary. I got a family to feed.
Yeah, I got a limo to buy and a family to feed and a Rolls Royce to buy and a Porsche to buy and a family to feed and I got a mansion to buy and a family to feed and I got vacations to go on and a family to feed.
It's always, I got a family to feed, got a family to feed.
I
They
gotta
always
have
use that.
I gotta have the biggest house, the best lawn, the best of everything. I gotta keep up
It's
with the
like,
Joneses, Hayden.
right. That's so funny you mentioned that, Bill, because they always use that tagline. I got a family to feed. You hear that even in music videos and songs. Got a family to feed, and they always use that tagline to make it seem like it's such a struggle. Well, guess what? Newsflash, kid. Everybody's got a family to feed. Everybody has to feed themselves. You don't feed yourself, you die. It's as
And
simple as
that's the
that.
other thing that you better look out for because they're gonna use food as a weapon. Watch and see.
They already have. They already have.
Well, they
Unfortunately.
have in so many ways, but I'm talking about. See, every one of the stores now are still only getting partial shipments.
Mm-hmm.
That all started right after we declared a state of emergency by Trump. Immediately behind that, all transportation of food was now partial orders to every single store, and it hasn't come back. It hasn't come back, and it's not going to because they're setting this country up. America is to go down. We are the targeted country this time. We are Nazi Germany. We are not winning this next war. We are losing it, guys. Get it through your head. America's going down. And there's no way you're going to revive it because none of you can even get along.
No,
Uh,
this is why they took away family farms and local farms, because they don't want people having access to real healthy, straight off the land food.
no,
They want people dependent on nothing but packaged foods and bullshit.
they want you dependent on all the processed foods and the stuff that's no good for you. Okay, that's what they want you dependent on, and they're going to take that away from you too. Watch and see if they don't. Because you know they shut down the supply lines and then they controlled the supply lines. And because the Fraud and Death Administration, which is part of the government, oh, I mean the FDA, yeah. But that's really what they are, is the Fraud and Death Administration. Just like the medical system is nothing but slow eugenics. Sure, they save few lives here and there. They have to, because how are you gonna you couldn't keep the public food if you didn't.
Yeah.
It's just sad. But yeah, I wanted to get up here and rant a little bit tonight, Hayden.
Well, appreciate you having me on, and hope everybody in the chat enjoyed the talk. I know I definitely did. It was unexpected, but this was really good. I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we did. You know, I wasn't going to stay up here long tonight, but I did come up here because I wanted to rant. But I got my rant off me now, so I feel a little better. I think we ran Espio off. I think he left. Okay. He couldn't
Yeah,
handle he couldn't handle it. It was too much truth for him. So
nah, he's eating tri-tips with First right now.
yeah, most likely yes. Him and First are whining together. But with that, guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. Okay. And then I'll be back up on Saturday night.
All right.
Okay, and of course, there's somebody here who wants to talk to Hayden on the side. So,
Well, thank you for having me on the show once again, Bill. It was a pleasure.
hey, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the people that are showing up in the chat. Okay, honesty is the virtue, man. Got to be honest, not be scared of truth. Because
All
we're
right.
on, we're on a lot of trouble. We don't, and most people don't even know it.
We're in a fight, and I mean, if we're ever going to find our way out of it, if there's any hope left, it's an uphill battle.
It is. It sure the heck is. With that, I'm going to end the live stream, guys, and you all have a good one.
All right. Take care.